keep this frequency clear. Oh, yeah. The Bomb. These sounds fall into my mind. Bucket heads. Da, 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 da. Oh, we've got to go now, though. BBC Radio 2. Let me say thank you to Anthony and Mike Powell and Nigel for today. Thanks to Michael and Lizzie and Adeshwa and Paul for this week. Back Sunday at 9 a.m. for Love Songs and more. Steve Wright in the afternoon on Monday for a short run. Good evening.
BBC News at 5 o'clock. This is Mike Powell. The government has announced a shake-up of its economic policies, saying a series of planned tax cuts will help boost growth. Opposition parties say the plan show ministers are out of touch with the public. And one of Britain's best-known authors, Dame Hilary Mantel, has died. Liz Truss says her government's plan to introduce a series of tax cuts and changes to public spending will help to rebuild the UK's economy. The Chancellor, Kwasi Kwarteng, announced the strategy in the Commons this morning. The measures include scrapping the top income tax rate of 45% and bringing forward the planned cut to the basic rate to 19 pence to next April. He also confirmed he was lifting the cap on bankers' bonuses and that he would help prospective house buyers by cutting stamp duty. He told MPs his strategy was the start of a new era.
Our plan, Mr. Speaker, is to expand the supply side of the economy through tax incentives and reform. That is how we will deliver higher wages, greater opportunities, and crucially, Mr. Speaker, fund public services now and into the future. That is how we will compete successfully with dynamic economies around the world.
The Liberal Democrat leader, Sir Ed Davey, said the Chancellor's mini-budget demonstrated that the government was totally out of touch with the general public. Labour also criticised the strategy. The Shadow Chancellor, Rachel Reeves, said she was particularly concerned about how ministers plan to fund subsidies for people's rising energy bills.
The Chancellor has confirmed that the costs of the energy price cap will be funded by borrowing, leaving the eye-watering windfall profits of the energy giants untaxed. The oil and gas producers will be toasting the Chancellor in the boardrooms as we speak, while working people are left to pick up the bill.
Business leaders, though, have welcomed the plans, with the CBI describing them as a turning point for the economy. Paul Johnson, the director of the independent economic think tank, the Institute for Fiscal Studies, says the package of tax cuts is the biggest for 50 years.
It was quite extraordinary. It's like having an entirely new government. This was the biggest tax-cutting event since 1972. It's not very many. It's half a century since we've seen tax cuts announced on this scale.
Officers investigating the fatal stabbing of a 15-year-old boy outside a school in Huddersfield say they've arrested a second teenager in connection with the case. Kari McLean was attacked on Wednesday. West Yorkshire police say they've arrested a 15-year-old boy. A 16-year-old boy who was detained yesterday on suspicion of murder remains in custody. One of the bosses of Instagram's parent company has been giving evidence at the inquest into the death of 14-year-old Molly Russell, who took her own life after being exposed to online content about depression and suicide. She died in 2017. Meta's head of health and well-being, Elizabeth Lagwan, was asked about the company's policies in place at the time to protect people using their site. Our reporter Simon Jones was at the inquest in North London Coroner's Court.
There was a lot of debate about images of self-harm that could be seen at the time on Instagram, whether those sort of images could actually help people by providing awareness of the issue, or whether those images might actually encourage people to self-harm. And the executive replied that it was a complicated matter.
The official in charge of looking after the interests of victims of crime in England and Wales has resigned. Dame Vera Baird, a former Labour minister, said she was quitting because of government's failure to tackle what she called a catastrophic backlog of cases getting to court, which was causing anguish for victims. Dame Hilary Mantel, the author of the best-selling Wolf Hall trilogy, has died at the age of 70. Fellow writers have been paying their respects, with Bernardine Evaristo describing her as talented and down-to-earth, and J.K. Rowling calling her a genius. The head of fiction at Waterstones, Bia Carvalho, said readers love Dame Hilary's seemingly effortless writing.
She writes history so brilliantly, as if she's lived it, but never wearing her research heavily. It always just feels terribly natural and is just focused on bringing her characters to three-dimensional life. And I think that's what people really appreciate in her fiction.
In the city, the 100 share index has closed down 144 points at 7,016. The weather this evening, rain continuing across parts of the southeast of England, with the odd shower for Northern Ireland, parts of Wales, southeastern Scotland and northeastern England. Elsewhere, largely dry, and lows of 5 in Edinburgh, 9 in Cardiff and Belfast, and 11 Celsius in London. BBC News, it's 5:05.
Mike, thank you very much.
Sarah Cox.
Take it away, Daniel.
Ladies and gentlemen, the weekend.
Are you ready? I know I am. It's been a while. Should we do this? All Request Friday is go. This is how it works. You remember, a couple of hours of great tunes chosen by you, some lovely chat. If you'd like to say hello, we love it. 88291. What's that?
Text 88291.
Kicking off with a tune suggested by Lynn and Richard McGill. They're somewhere on a motorway in England. I will explain. They say today we are travelling from Bangor in Northern Ireland to Brighton to leave our daughter Charlotte at university. Sniffs into an already soggy hanky, says Lynn. Please help to break up our 12-hour journey by playing this song. Also, please give a big shout out to her big sister Alice and Maisie the cockapoo, who she's missing already. She's missing the dog. I don't know how much she's missing the family so far. But fly free, Charlotte. Good luck with your first year at uni. Lots of love to you. This is the tune from your mum and dad.